One of the most challenging aspects of any gacha game would be having great resource management, ranging from your premium currency to your stamina usage and especially upgrade materials for your characters, since upgrading characters can be pretty expensive at some point. However, some players may not be so sure with which character will fall off soon or has the longevity to be worth investing in. Now that being said, there are some factors we can take into consideration which may indicate the longevity of a character, such as how flexible the character is in team building, the unique mechanics or abilities they hold, and just how efficient a character is in their role. So I'll be going through some characters I believe are worth the investment, as I'll be pointing out their strengths which will be able to show their long-term value. As a side note, I believe it's right to mention you don't need to build any of the following characters I'll go over, and if you like a character that isn't mentioned and you know will likely fall off soon, you should still definitely invest in them regardless of their longevity. Just before we jump into it, would really appreciate it if you could subscribe to the channel for more Zenless Zone Zero content and drop a like if you enjoyed the video. Now I'd like to believe it's common knowledge that support characters tend to have the most longevity in gacha games, so it should come to no surprise that a few support characters will be featured within this list, and the first one would be Nicole. Nicole is one of the only 2 ether characters in a game and is given for free to every player, which is amazing since the utility Nicole's kit holds makes it a great overall support character. As for Nicole's core skills, they are insanely valuable for any character on her team and even more so for other ether characters, which is only Zhu Yuan for now since she is the only other ether character in the game. Nicole's first core skill will defense shred enemies by up to 40% for 3.5 seconds whenever she launches her energy field. Now as great as it would be for the duration of the defense shred to be slightly longer, you still would have multiple enemies bound together with their defense lowered significantly to enable your main DPS character to deal a ton more damage. So you just need good timing to align your main DPS to go all in with their abilities as soon as the energy field has been launched from Nicole. As for Nicole's second ability, when another character in the team shares the same attribute or faction as Nicole, the entire team will be able to deal 25% more ether damage when Nicole inflicts a debuff through her energy field. So this passive would future-proof Nicole, as she would be a great support for every ether character that drops, as she has proven to be with Zhu Yuan. So that being said, if you have picked up Zhu Yuan and you intend to keep her as one of your main DPS characters for a while, it would be best to invest in Nicole due to how well they synergize together. However, even if you don't have Zhu Yuan, every DPS character would still majorly benefit alongside Nicole, as enemies being pulled together with Nicole's skill allows your DPS characters to clear much more efficiently. And if you are going up against one of those massive enemies that won't move, the energy field would still be valuable as it can defense shred them. So Nicole is definitely a high value character you should invest in due to the amount of utility she can provide to the team, and more importantly, she is one of the best looking characters in the game. Now the next character, which is another support character, is Rina. Just like Nicole, Rina's kit holds a ton of value for many characters and even more so for Electra characters. Taking a look at Rina's first core skill, she is able to provide a pen ratio buff to the entire team of up to 30% lasting for 10 seconds. How she is able to provide the buff would be through simply switching her in and dealing any attack on an enemy. If you guys are familiar with Verina from WutheringWaves, she is a broken support due to the fact that she just needs a few seconds of heal time to provide buffs and heals to the team. So it's exactly the same case with Rina, since she just needs a couple seconds to deal an attack to an enemy, which provides a massive pen ratio buff to the entire team. You are also able to keep track of the buff's duration with the icon below the health bar, so once it disappears, just switch Rina in to deal an attack and then you can switch back to your main DPS. Also, a pen ratio buff holds quite a bit of value in general, since it would benefit main DPS characters and anomaly DPS characters. So this core skill alone allows Rina to be extremely flexible in team building, as she can buff literally any DPS character. As for Rina's second core skill, when there is another character on a team that shares the same attribute or faction as Rina, she is able to increase the duration of shock inflicted on enemies by 3 seconds and will increase electric damage by 10% for the entire team when shocked enemies are on the field. So similar to Nicole being the character to support every ether character, Rina is the Electra counterpart. However, the core skill works even better with characters that can trigger shock quite often through anomaly buildup. So someone like Grace that specializes in triggering shock on enemies, as she is an anomaly DPS character, would really take advantage of the core skill. That being said, Anton would be another Electra character that will majorly benefit from increased duration of shock, as he deals a lot more damage to enemies whilst they are shocked. So Rina can can be used alongside premium characters such as Grace and 8 rank characters like Anton, which just shows how flexible and free to play friendly she can be. Lastly, Rina's mobility is insane, as you can literally fly across the map in just a few seconds. So along with having a powerful and flexible kit, her speed allows you to jump straight out of any sticky situation and cover a ton of ground. Now, as I just recently mentioned Grace, she will be the next high value character I would recommend investing in. I assume many players would invest in Grace regardless due to her personality, but she does happen to hold a lot of value, as she is currently our only S rank anomaly DPS character. If you guys are familiar with HonkaiStarRail, you would be able to consider anomaly DPS characters as the dot characters of Zenless Zone Zero, as they both revolve around inflicting debuffs on enemies and dealing a lot of free damage through them. So with that, I'd like to believe anomaly DPS characters like Grace will outlast many main DPS characters and will be considered as a meta team for a very long time, just like dot characters in HSR. So considering Grace is our S-rank electric anomaly DPS character, I very much doubt they would want to replace her anytime soon, as they will want to release S-rank anomaly DPS characters for the other attributes first, which will also take quite a while for that to happen, and so allows Grace to remain as our electric anomaly DPS character for quite some time. Now, as for Grace's core skills, they really do boost her value as an anomaly DPS, as the first core skill is able to increase the electric anomaly buildup of her special attack by up to 130%. This would only be once she obtains 8 stacks of zap, which can be gained through dealing basic attacks and dash attacks. However, considering Grace has insane mobility during combat and can deal rapid basic attacks, she would be able to accumulate 8 stacks of zap pretty quick, which will allow shock to be triggered on enemies within seconds. As for the second core skill, when there is another character of the same faction or attribute, Grace is able to increase the damage dealt from shock by 18% when she uses the EX special attack, and it can stack up to 2 times. So every electric character would benefit being alongside Grace, as they would deal increased shock damage, which makes Grace an essential piece to electric teams moving forward. So Grace is an amazing character overall, as she has a strong kit that enables her to trigger shock insanely quick, increases the shock damage dealt for the entire team, and is a fun character to play with due to her crazy mobility. Now, diving into the stun character region, it shouldn't be a surprise that Lycaon will have to be mentioned. Not only because he is featured on the strongest team in the game, but since he is the best stun character by far. The main objective of a stun character is to incapacitate the enemy as soon as, which allows the main DPS character to deal even more damage from the 150% stun damage multiplier. However, if Lycaon is with another character that shares his attribute or faction, he will be able to increase the stun damage multiplier by 35%, bringing it to a total of 185% increased damage on the enemy whilst they are stunned. Lycaon is the only stun character in the game capable of increasing the stun damage multiplier, so this core skill alone is massive, as it would enable any main DPS character to deal even more burst damage when they are with Lycaon. As for Lycaon's other core skill, it increases his daze multiplier by up to 80% with his charged basic attacks, and can decrease ice damage resistance by 25% for 30 seconds when he deals an EX special attack or follow-up assist. So Lycaon will be able to stun enemies much sooner than every other stun character, which allows him to be a valuable stun character for literally any main DPS, but even more so for ice DPS characters due to the ice resistance shred. So naturally, any ice main DPS character that releases later on, Lycaon will be insanely valuable for them, as he has proven to be alongside Ellen. Now, there is no real confirmation on the release date, but Miyabi, which is the character that has majority of the player base saving for right now, was an ice character in the CBT. So of course, Lycaon would be the best stun character for Miyabi, given he specializes in supporting ice DPS characters. So if you are someone looking to pick up Miyabi whenever she drops, it would be best to build up Lycaon in preparation, or aim to pick him up if you don't have him. So aside from the fact that Lycaon is a giant furry, he is undoubtedly the best stun character in the game and will be great for any ice DPS characters that release. Now, the final character would be none other than Soukaku. Just like Lycaon, she is featured on the best team in the game, but she is a great support character overall. Soukaku, being a free character for every player, is capable of providing a massive attack buff to any character that switches in through a quick assist or chain attack after she uses a charged EX skill. The buff provides up to to a max of 1000 flat attack for 22 seconds, which is absurd and will be beneficial for any DPS character. Along with that, Soukaku is able to increase ice damage dealt by 20% for the entire team when there is another character that shares her attribute or faction. So again, just like Lycaon, Soukaku would be great for any ice DPS character, and especially for Miyabi, if she plans to remain as an ice DPS character. To finish it off, Soukaku is capable of building up ice anomaly insanely quick through her attacks, so she wouldn't be rendered to just be a character that provides buffs to the team, as she can also help in freezing enemies to set up the big burst damage window for your main DPS. So Soukaku really is a great character to build up, and especially for free to play since she is free. So if you find that your DPS characters need a boost in DPS to clear content quicker, Soukaku is probably the best character to help with allowing them to deal a lot more damage, and will be great long term for any ice DPS characters that drop. Overall, I believe these characters can offer the most value for your account. But as I said earlier, you don't need to build any of these characters if you don't want to. Now lastly, I do want to touch upon main DPS characters just in case you guys think they are terrible for long-term investment. Main DPS characters are often replaced by newer main DPS characters that can deal more damage and have extra abilities. However, as long as you invest enough into any solid main DPS character such as Yinlin or Zhu Yuan, they will always hold value on your account for as long as you want to use them in clearing majority of content. It's just the nature of gacha games that main DPS characters will be power crept more often than every other role. But as long as they can clear everything and you like the character, it doesn't really matter if a new character comes out that can clear a few seconds quicker. So for now, just invest in the main DPS characters you enjoy playing with. And with that, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Would really appreciate it if you could subscribe to the channel for more Zenless Zone Zero content, and if you enjoyed the video, drop a like. Also comment down below any other characters you think are worth investing in and why. And yeah, hope to catch you guys later.